Oh, let's see. Are we live? We never can know. Apparently, we have people following us. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Over the past weeks. Hello, and welcome to Ask the Right Questions. I am Slim, and I have a tangerine today. And over there's Race,
I
the
don't listen to people
Raposa.
who eat tangerines, so
These fresh tangerines from Florida,
I don't listen to any of your arguments if you're eating a tangerine.
from the land I was born in. I was born there, Race. I was born to eat them. But how are you doing
Makes
today?
all your arguments irrelevant. Um, I'm doing good.
How good?
Um,
You've been
I'm going
streaming.
to get a new router soon. Uh, so you won't be breaking up as I do this podcast.
You hope so.
We're gonna get faster internet
You're gonna get
and everything.
fast.
So,
Well, the router itself doesn't make faster internet.
well, we're gonna go to Comcast, Xfinity, whatever, and
That's what I have.
we're going to a faster plan. Either way,
That's good news.
hopefully it'll be faster. Yeah.
You'll be a changed man.
So if I don't respond right away to something, it's because like your video's unconnecting. It's pretty annoying, but that's just the way life is.
You gotta just hop in the Buddhist river Race and go wherever it
Mm.
takes you.
I don't feel like I'm in a Buddhist river.
Neither gotta be in the Buddhist river Race. Just be Rico Suave.
You need to be the Buddhist river. I
Hop in the
actually
Buddhist river.
I started talking to someone last night on my art stream and the internet went out.
Then you cried.
He followed me though, so
What a nice guy.
yeah.
They followed you. That's the good news.
Yeah.
Your life is changing. So
We'll
much.
see. Will he be a Patreon member in the future is the question.
Oh, already asking for his money. Already asking for the money.
Well, that's okay.
Give
Nobody
me,
knows who he is.
give me your
Well,
money.
eventually,
Give
eventually you
me.
gotta build an audience and monetize it. I'm not
Come
asking right
support.
now.
Come support me on Patreon. I always think of.
Please, I'm a poor artist.
I always think of Daniel Ibritson because he says at the beginning of his videos, "Come support me on Patreon." At least I think that's his name. It's a Slopes Game Room guy. I probably said the wrong name.
I remember one guy on Twitter. He was like an independent reporter, and he was like, if you like the work I do, give me money for my kids for Christmas, please. Donate, please.
Well, at least he's honest. See, I
Yeah.
appreciate that. I appreciate that. It's a sleight of hand I don't like, or acting like you don't really care. No, you
Yeah.
care. You care. You're just admit.
Leave
Just admit
leave
that
lots
you're
of
e-begging.
comments down there, bro. Just leave tons of comments. Your opinions. I'm going to read every single comment. Make
It,
sure it's just thousands of comments.
it helps the show big time.
Yeah. Share it with your friends.
So what about today's question Race? Question that I don't know how to talk about,
Hmm.
even though it bothers me.
Yeah. It's a little open ended.
No, the one that bothers me specifically, the origin of it all,
Hmm.
is people always is that they always say that somebody's a hypocrite, and then that instantly invalidates anything that they had to say. It's their favorite one.
Right.
It's their favorite. It's the internet's favorite attack. Is hypocrisy.
Yes.
Just like we talk about, we don't want to be fat, but we just gorge our faces every day, nonstop, right? But
Right.
that doesn't mean it's good to be. That doesn't mean that it is good to be fat, though, right? Even if we are 2,000-ton fat asses who gorge our faces every
Right.
day, it doesn't mean it's a good thing.
No.
You know,
So
look. You look uncomfortable about that one.
Is this on the No, I was just trying to find, is the hypocrisy fallacy on here, or is it just with ad hominem?
Um,
It's not on here.
I don't know
Okay,
about
well,
this website, but it is. It is a logical fallacy. You can type it in to your favorite search
yes.
engine. I recommend DuckDuckGo.
So just because I'm a hypocrite doesn't mean my argument is wrong. That's the
Yeah, it doesn't
nutshell
mean that the
form.
idea is wrong. Oh, it's under tu quoque. I don't know how to pronounce that word. You'll know it. I think it's French. Tu quoque. It falls under that one,
Yeah. Um,
wherever it is on this list.
I guess the best scenario I have is if I cheated on my wife and then I said cheating is bad. Okay, I'm a
Well,
hypocrite.
yeah, you're a
But
hypocrite.
that doesn't make how does me being a
Doesn't found it.
hypocrite make cheating wrong? Make my statement cheating is wrong wrong? Doesn't. Um, but if you're in an argument with somebody and they know you and you're saying something opposite of what you do, there's
Yeah, there it is. It's a tu quoque. They say that's how it's pronounced. Quoque.
okay.
This fallacy is also known as the appeal to hypocrisy.
Yeah. Um, it's like a knee-jerk reaction. It's understandable, right? It's emotional. It's in the heat of the moment.
It's extremely persuasive.
It is, yes. It is perfect for persuasion because it lessens the credibility of the person making the argument. But you got to look past the person and deal with the actual argument, like actually deal with what he's saying. That's how you get the truth.
Well, because the first thing that
Not
comes to your mind is that, well, if he's not living by his own ideas, then what are they worth?
right. It doesn't mean much when he says them. It's like it's the same thing with smokers when they tell you not to smoke while they're puffing a cigarette.
Yeah,
Never start smoking. Now, does that doesn't itself make smoking right?
yeah. Well, the packages of cigs even say smoking kills.
Right.
But people still do it.
Right. Um so that definitely is the go-to attack for people. It's people just don't know how to debate in general. Um
Well, it seems like I don't know if I want to say nowadays. It probably happened all through history. I'm sure it has. But people's first reaction is always to attack character rather than ideas,
mhm.
whatever kind of attack it might be.
Right. An argument is anything that uses reason or evidence. Anything else is not an argument. Anything else is emotional, personal attacks, trying to get away from the main issue, um, being persuasive without rationality. Um, it it
Exactly.
it can you can like I guess if you're responding to something, you make your arguments and then maybe you can mention your feelings, right? But you got to separate the two.
You have to clearly separate the two. Yes. But you can talk about how your feelings brought you there. Maybe I don't know. Or typically we do stumble onto most conclusions from feelings.
Well, your feelings might be right. Th- well, this leads to another question I wanted to do. Do feelings lie to you? Do your feelings tell you the truth? Because you could be feeling something and you just really don't know why. So the feelings are telling you a real truth, but you're associating them with a lie. And so the way you feel about somebody, the observations you make about their life, that could all totally be right. But if you present it as an argument against what the person is saying, that's when you're committing the fallacy, and that's when you're um it's just a cheap shot. It doesn't help your case. It's not gonna get people, you or anybody else, closer to the truth because you're attacking somebody.
Do feelings lie to you? Well, I think most of the time they probably do.
Well, I think it's more that they're telling you a truth. They're telling you something, but you don't know what it is, and you can miss. What's the word?
You
Appreciate or
you can dismiss facts because of it.
no, you can like your emotions are telling you to be sad about something, but you don't know what you're supposed to be sad about, and so you're sad about something else, but the emotions were pointing to another truth, but you're pointing them to a lie. Does that make sense?
Somewhat, yeah.
I mean, when people like sometimes people don't know that they might have like um a mental disorder of like OCD or something, and they think they're weird their whole life, that they obsessed over certain thoughts, and it's like they were having bad feelings about minor issues, you know.
Yes, yeah.
But they might be misdirecting, I guess is the word. Anyways, it doesn't. It's a whole nother. It's a whole nother thing I've been thinking about with emotions, and because we don't want to say that emotions are completely useless, you know,
No, they're not. They're not completely
but
useless.
they're more powerful than you being rational and you finding evidence and you getting to the truth. Like they're usually a roadblock to that.
After all, emotions cause us to create art, right?
Yeah, yeah, they do.
But we're
It's like undescribable kind of feelings that lead to something visual or something audio, kind of like grabbing stuff out of the wind, and
they can't
emotions
be
are like
expressed
that.
in just words.
Right. Exactly.
But so did you do have a video for everybody?
Oh well, so uh I guess hypocrisy fallacy is also a type of ad hominem attack. I guess you could categorize it under that. And this is one of the best videos I've seen on that.
Yeah, it actually,
Um,
yeah, it is its own category, but yeah, you could safely categorize it under ad hominem too.
right. Um,
Just happened to be so common they gave it its own.
right. So this is the expert debater, William Lane Craig, the man that atheists run from in debates. Um, this is someone
How many people know
misusing
his
the.
name?
Uh,
He also has comments disabled on his video. Therefore, what he says is not true race. See right there, comments are disabled.
oh.
Can't be true.
Um, he's a Christian apologist. I mentioned the other week. You know, but he's got like a doctorate in philosophy and uh,
Now, is this the guy who played chess with his brain?
no,
He-
no,
he-
you know William Lane Craig.
I do. I don't. All I remember is the guy who played chess with his brain, with the
That's
blindfold
that's
on.
that's Jonathan. That's Jonathan Sarfati. He's the
I
creationist
was
guy.
really impressed by it, so I always
Yeah.
remember it.
We can watch it one day on the show.
We'll have to.
On the Young Earth Creationist show, it's like this guy believes in Young Earth creation, and he's playing 12 games of blindfolded chess. So
So you can't argue with that.
no, exactly. That's a fallacy in there somewhere.
It
But
is, yeah.
anyways,
So William Lane Craig, and he's going to tell us the meaning of ad hominem.
yep.
So do we want to play the whole thing or just play a portion of it?
No, you can play the whole thing. It's only 3 minutes.
Okay, let's do it.
Ad hominems or attacks from your position or your side. I did want to bring this to your attention and get your response. After the panel that you appeared on with the late Christopher Hitchens, you referred to him in an interview with Christian Radio as, quote, and this is on YouTube, weaselly, oily, and lacking in intellectual substance. You then referred to, in your debate with Richard Carrier while he was there, to him as a hack. You also referred to fans as Richard Dawkins in an interview, and this is also on YouTube. Dawkins is so popular because people are so unsophisticated, inept, sophomoric, they cannot think logically, uninformed, silly, ignorant, and the result, and this is your words, of an educational system that has been dumbed down. Ms. Craig, quite frankly, is this hypocrisy or is this just a glimpse of the real William Lane Craig?
Well, I think it's a glimpse of the real William Lane Craig. No, I don't know that, but no, maybe it's important to describe what an ad hominem is. That means literally against the man. And what an ad hominem argument would be is that the reason you reject his conclusion is because you attack his person. Maybe like attacking me, you know, for these aspersions. No, wait, now let me finish. It would be like saying that my conclusions are wrong because I've said all of these nasty things. See, that would be an ad hominem argument. But in none of these cases that you've quoted, where you've compiled words not strung together at once, but you put them together, in none of these cases, I think, will you find that I ever reject a person's argument or conclusions on that basis. Rather, these were probably said in response to questions like tonight, where I said some pretty negative things about folks rejecting God for emotional reasons rather than intellectual reasons. And I would certainly reiterate what I said about the lack of sophistication and the dumbed down educational system. But in no case is this committing an ad hominem fallacy where I say that their conclusions are wrong because of those things. I've been asked to characterize certain things as I was tonight, and I've given my honest characterization that I would stand by. I mean, I think it is true, all of those things that I said, but it's not an ad hominem fallacy. At most, it would be impolite, maybe. You could indict me for being impolite, but okay.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
There you go.
You just got owned by William Lane Craig. Used the ad hominem while accusing him of ad hominem.
So,
What do you think about that?
well, he certainly defended himself well, using
Yeah.
facts, using the power race, facts and logic.
Well, basically, he was saying that the guy was using ad hominem while accusing him of ad hominem.
Yeah.
He was like, "You said all these impolite things.
It was a direct attack on character.
Yeah, he was attacking his character rather than addressing any of his arguments for God's existence." And William Lane Craig is like, "No, those are just my opinions aside from the arguments. I don't reject their atheism based on what I think about their character."
It's true. Yeah. Well, none of those quotes attacked the ideas.
Exactly.
That's what it comes down to. Is just showing that he holds opinions that are not popular.
Right. He just made observations about their behavior.
So.
Now, yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I don't like people like Dawkins. I think he's a grumpy old man. But that's not why I reject his atheism.
No, that's just something that we laugh about aside from it.
and his incredibly strange meme video.
Oh, but that thing's a work of art. that thing's a work of art.
Memes.
Remember the
The
first time?
ideas that spread.
Remember the first time I sent the video to you? I didn't even tell you what it was about. I just said, please watch it all the way through. Just please watch it all the way
Is
through.
it-
And you
That's
told
the
me
closest.
you told me you were about to quit it just when you finally said memes.
I was about to quit it. I was about to I felt like I was on a drug trip. That video. That's the closest thing I've ever had to a drug trip.
Then he came out playing the electric saxophone, which doesn't look anything like a saxophone.
Just some weird flute and his Hawaiian shirt.
That's what it looks like, yeah.
That's why I'm not an atheist.
You're not an
Because they're
atheist
because they're grumpy old men who make weird meme videos. That's why I'm not an atheist. Okay, I don't want to be associated with the old grumpy men who make the meme videos. Okay,
Yeah.
so
So the reason this whole video came to be is just because of my personal. Can you call it a pet peeve when it actually is a real issue?
it's
Pet peeve
Yeah.
usually used for something that doesn't matter.
right.
But so it's a pet peeve of mine that ad hominems and especially hypocrisy fallacy is used so much online nonstop every day. It's the first thing they
Yeah.
jump to. It just comes to if you don't do what's right, I don't have to either. It's an excuse. It's like, it's what it comes down to, I guess, right? It's an excuse to keep doing what's wrong.
Appeal to emotion works in this too.
That's what it is, really.
Is it?
It's ad
So are these
hominem.
more
I don't know.
more broad fallacies? This site then. We're on yourlogicalfallacyis.com. It's a great site if you want to improve your debating skills. Now, we should point out the fallacy, which is don't learn all these and then start just throwing them out in a debate. Actually recognize what they are and then explain to the person why their argument is bad.
Then call it out very specifically.
Yeah, just don't go ad hominem, red herring.
Well, the hypocrisy one does have its own to quo key.
Yeah, because and a lot of these, even these titles are very
The majority of them are very broad.
they're very broad. This appeal to emotion says it includes appeals to fear, envy, hatred, pity, pride, and more. It's important to note that sometimes a logically coherent argument may inspire emotion or have an emotional aspect, but the problem and fallacy occurs when emotion is used instead of a logical argument, or to obscure the fact that no compelling rational reason exists for one's position. Everyone, bar sociopaths, is affected by emotion, and so appeals to emotion are a very common and effective argument tactic, but they're ultimately flawed, dishonest, and tend to make one's opponents justifiably emotional.
And I guess the unfortunate part about all the fallacies is that you definitely do have to make use of them to be persuasive and to get a large audience on your side.
Well, persuasion is a whole different game, right? It's
Yeah,
not based on rationality.
It's not. It's not. No. Though to get the largest audience on your side, I mean, you really do have to appeal to emotion. You really do.
It has to be included in there somewhere if you really want to change somebody's mind. But what you can do definitely is there's a phrase: "The cooler heads prevail." When you're in a debate, the unavoidable aspect of it is that there's a theater going on between two people. The audience is observing the behavior of two people while also hearing the arguments. And a person's attention to the arguments and the behavior of the person is happening at the exact same time, and they're always clashing. Your attention of the behavior and the argument is constantly clashing.
It's true. Yeah, you have to. You do have to learn how to act in a debate too. It can't just be facts.
When you use emotion, the more emotion you use in debate, the other person's going to be compelled to use emotion. If you really just stick to the arguments as much as you can, like laser focus on the arguments and what they say, and come up with if you have good arguments against them, then you're going to do a good job. But some people are going to let me rephrase it. Laser focus on the arguments and don't try to use as little emotion as possible. If the other person is showing negative emotion, they're going to lose. Kind of whether they're right or not. Now, you should like focus on their arguments, but if you start showing negative emotion back, then neither side is going to be convinced or even enjoy the debate. You know?
It's true. It's always good to include examples of how it might help people, or how something bad is hurting somebody, to appeal to emotion, because it also is showing a fact at the same time.
Yeah, and you can't help it. Like I reject communism for logical reasons, but I also reject communism. The more I learn about it, and the more I learn about the crimes of communists, the dictators, the soldiers, the more emotions I have over it. It's estimated more than 100 million people died from all the communist regimes in the 19th century.
Something like that. It's a really huge number, anyway.
And it included torture, experiments, heinous stuff like dehumanizing to the maximum, like horror movie level stuff.
Always plenty of starvation.
Yeah, starvation on a mass level, but also just deliberate abuse of power by the soldiers. And I could reject if I rejected communism based off that, it'd be understandable, but it'd also be irrational.
Well, to give another example, I've always said that conservatives should do some appealing to emotion when talking about cutting taxes. If you actually gave an example of poor people being able to keep more money, be able to keep more of their money to buy food, clothes, whatever, right? Would make a huge difference. I mean, that's what the left always does, is appeal to emotion because all they talk about is raising taxes on the rich.
Yeah.
They never talk about raising the taxes on the poor guy.
Well, we're going to mention the name, a hot name right now, AOC.
Just say Cortez. Why
Miss
did she get her own acronym?
Because her name's kind of like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. It's a lot of syllables.
Just say Cortez.
Miss Cortez. She deliberately said, people are missing the forest for the trees. They care more about me being factual and accurate than morally right. I mean,
well, it's true.
What do we call that fallacy? I don't even know what to call that, but right there, it's like, well, if you're ignorant and you already believe you're like morally right, if you're just like you're enjoying your moral superiority, you're enjoying those feelings.
Yeah, well, I mean, she also did tell everybody, all of America, that we're wearing the cheap sheets and she's in charge.
She's the boss.
That was very unpersuasive.
Very. Well, yeah, the best way to take down a tyrant is to make him act like one.
Well, I said I appreciated the honesty. I do. I honestly do appreciate the honesty, though. When she says that, I do. Because she's the only one who would say it in Washington, probably.
Yeah.
I do appreciate that. I don't think it's right, but
Yeah, that quote, the best way to take down a tyrant is to make him act like one,
yeah.
implies that and tyrants never act like tyrants.
Uh,
They always act like they're trying to help you. That they're needed. You absolutely need them, and they're always going to help you.
that's true. So what logical fallacy? So what were you asking? You're asking about which logical fallacy was something?
With what she said, that people care more about being factually correct than being morally right.
Oh, I don't even know. Isn't that just a stupid thing to say? Just a stupid fact, really?
Well, I think the left's whole thing is that the idea that they don't want to give up is that people have a right to a service.
I mean, is it just basically another way of saying appeal to emotion should be a true fact? Not a fallacy, basically? Isn't that basically just an argument against the fallacy itself?
I don't know. Is morally right? I mean, morally right is a fact, but it's also an emotion.
Well, I mean, if you want to live, well, I mean, nobody. I guess you could say nobody lives their life according to just facts, right?
Right.
Well, because morals clash with the real world sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
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 So,
Well, I guess she's assuming her morality is correct. Her morality is the objective morality.
well, doesn't everybody assume that?
Well, people are usually moral relativists.
Well, yeah.
They
well,
want to say it's all just opinion, but then get mad at you for not agreeing with.
in the postmodern world, which reminds me, we need to get to that question sometime.
Yeah. No, people love to say it's all opinion and then act like, but then live as if morality is objective. But, like, I mean, I guess the Kwaku, I don't know how to pronounce it, avoiding having to engage with the criticism by turning it back on the accuser.
Yeah.
That's kind of the hypocrisy fallacy.
No, well, it says it right there. Literally translating as you too, this fallacy is also known as the appeal to hypocrisy.
Oh, okay, there you go.
That's why I kept pointing it out, because it is the hypocrisy fallacy.
Oh, okay.
It just had a weird name, aka non-English.
Saying that because one finds something difficult to understand, that is therefore not true. That's a big one.
That's a really weird one. I haven't actually heard anybody do that, but people probably do it all the
No,
time
well,
without knowing it.
People
I think,
don't say it; they just give up.
I think people do. But people do it without realizing it.
Yeah, it's just like I can't. All right, I just can't have this debate anymore. I'm just done. I'm just done talking about this.
It happened
Okay.
to you, right?
That happens a lot. Yeah.
Though it's not so much you didn't bring up facts, it's just that you're not getting anywhere.
Yeah. Like Scott Adams has been doing a thing with climate change. He's trying to figure it out, and he said that when he said someone sent him a report against he made a climate change argument. This expert sent him a report. The report was 73 pages long. And he's just like, I'm not a climate scientist. Do you think I can even understand the 73 pages, much less have the patience to read them?
So this fallacy leads into appeal to authority.
Exactly.
Because when you give up, you're just going to say, well, I'm just going to trust the experts on TV.
That might be bigger than the hypocrisy fallacy, right?
It might be bigger. It's not one that you call out in the middle of an argument, really. It doesn't work that way. It's more of a person. It's more of an inner person. You know, you're by yourself in a room trying to figure out something, and you just give up and appeal to authority.
Yeah, but it's also like we say, the majority of scholars agree that And I'm supposed to assume it's true because the majority of scholars, the majority of scientists believe.
But it also comes down to, it's a mix of a lack of care and a lack of time in a busy life.
Mhm.
It's a mix of those two things. In the end, do you really care, I guess? How much do you care if it's climate change is true, I guess,
Right.
or global warming? Are you
I mean,
are you willing to dedicate a few weeks of your life to studying it in your free time?
most people aren't. No.
No. So you throw up your
And
arms and
yeah, I mean, that's another thing that's hard because if there is,
in fact, a little bit Scott Adams has studied it because he has studied it some probably right at this point. When you think of it, he's probably studied it more than most, even though it's a little bit that he did.
yeah,
Or
and
that
even
we
he
have.
says there's too many bad arguments on both sides.
So he's going to appeal to the middle ground.
He's still in the middle of trying to figure it out, but it's like kind of like if like you're telling me to upend the entire world economy.
She said the world's going to end in 12 years. It would take more than 12 years to get to it. So if it was 12 years, there's nothing you could do about it. It's too late. I have actually heard scientists long before her say it's too late. If it's too late, it's too late. I don't know. If it's too late, what are you going to do with that? If it really is. If it really was, what would you do?
What are you going to do when the new Green Deal says to rebuild every single house in America? Let's say you actually do that in 12 years.
What is the logistics?
And global warming still happens.
I think you'd have to bring over all those Chinese, the Chinese in the factories to do it.
Right, and
well, China's excellent at building buildings, but they fall down. They do them quick though. They do them quick.
Yeah, they build entire empty cities.
Nobody can do it like them.
Everyone should go look up the ghost cities in China.
It is extremely interesting. It's something very surreal. It's very surreal to look at.
Yeah, it's just rows and rows of empty buildings.
And they're collapsing after a decade, at least less, I think.
No, 3 years.
3 years. 3 years. Less than 3 years. That's something. So
that's that calm equality right there. We collapsed after 3 years. You have to like. You're trying to convince me the world is ending in 12 years. Your arguments better be damn. And if there are qualified experts on both sides of the issue that disagree, then it's not it's not a clear-cut case. It's the same thing with evolution. Oh my god. The emotions that people have with evolution. Oh my god.
It's an epic tale.
The absolute assurity, the zero skepticism, the clinging on to it, like it's, there's nothing else like it. It is a secular religion. It's a creation myth of the secular religion. It's like, but people cling on to it like.
Oh, that's true. We should actually do a show on the brand new religion. Timothy Poole has even identified it as such.
What? Left identity politics?
Well, yeah, that. But well, people have a new religion, and it's worshiping the state, which includes evolution.
Yeah, but Timothy Poole. Timothy Poole is a priest of worshiping the state.
You're calling him Timothy Poole now too. Well, it's a little bit different, but he is he's the first one I have I've seen call anything about it a religion.
I think he's talking about the identity politics with the left, but worshiping government is definitely a religion.
We could do a show on that.
Yeah, but there are qualified scientists who disagree with evolution. There are people with PhDs that agree with evolution and don't agree with evolution. People with PhDs who agree with climate change and don't agree with climate change,
But
or
only
catastrophic
one
climate change caused by humans.
only one side gets the airtime.
But that shows you that either the science is too complicated for even them to understand, and that's their full-time job, right?
Yes.
Or it could be another reason that the majority of scientists believe that. There could be political reasons, like most science. I think it's most, right? Most science is publicly funded, right?
Yeah. By they're always looking for funding by the government.
So science is always tied with the state. The state is funding science.
Just like state-backed religion.
So you're going to have isn't that an immediate what's the word? I don't want to say bias, but it's something else. Like you'll immediately be for bigger government because you want more funding for science.
Oh, well.
Doesn't that make you instantly biased?
Well, yeah. I mean, hell. So one of the biggest arguments Reddit always uses is about NASA getting funded.
What about it?
Well, NASA is science, space exploration. Well, they always want NASA to have more money. Because they want to go to Mars next year.
Well, they want their nerdy sci-fi shows to be true as well.
That too. I mean, you know what I mean. But as an example, they're science, and right. Well, they're one of the biggest one in the world, probably, right? They must be probably the biggest one in the world.
Well, and Rand Paul has talked on the Senate floor about crazy, insane experiments that taxpayers have funded, like like shrimp on cocaine.
Oh, shrimp!
How shrimp act on cocaine, like that, like crazy, like stuff that people never never wanted to ask.
It's pointless, yeah. Well, they one time I forget if it was America or Canada, but they did. I don't know if I should say it on here. They did a study on if gay men with smaller penises have confidence issues.
Oh my god!
I mean, really? I forget if it was America or Canada. Canada that did that one, but it's one or the other.
I'm sure tons of people would have donated money for that study.
If they threw it up on Kickstarter, they'd probably laugh about it and donate, right?
Right. So those scientists are going to be compelled to vote for bigger government because that means they keep their job. Like this whole idea that scientists are somehow like godly moral angels that aren't susceptible to like fallacies and bias and their economic interests, let's say. You know, like everybody's flawed, including science. And if you weren't there for the experiment, you're just taking their word for it. They could be lying. Now, is it rational to assume that most scientists are lying? Could they be doing an honest experiment, maybe get something wrong or not recognize a variable? Yes. It's all very complicated. It's just the assurity that people have of certain things like climate change and evolution. I mean, those are big.
They also want to please their donors.
Right.
So they try to find the answer that is good for them.
Yeah. Those are big, all-encompassing worldviews, you know? They affect everything. And again, we can't all be experts. I understand why people use the appeal to authority argument. Like, it's mostly out of convenience, but it doesn't 100% give you truth, and people need to recognize that.
I wonder if it's more to do with time or not caring. It's a mix of the two.
Yeah, it's kind of
Well, you've said yourself after work you always came home and just crashed.
yeah,
Well, that's my point. It's time, right? Time and energy.
yeah, yeah. It's like I can't have this debate right now, and then you just kind of
Yeah, you don't want to debate. You don't want to do the research. You just flop in the bed and go Betty buys.
well, it's not relevant to you in your daily life either.
Or
You
play
know?
some video games. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
If
true.
it's not,
It's not relevant in the day-to-day life.
if
Well,
it's not, yeah, if it's not affecting your daily life, then you're going to be less
a
inclined
big
to
thing
look into
about
it.
it, people hear about global warming is like, well, that's for my great-grandchildren to worry about, right?
Yeah,
Even if it was true, that's how they think about it, right?
yeah,
I'm not. I'm not gonna start inconveniencing my life.
exactly. I mean, the thing with that, the thing with climate science in general is just that there's almost nothing more complicated than the Earth's atmosphere. Like, there's so much going on up there.
It's not
And
totally
to think,
understood.
yeah, and there are I don't know how many climate scientists that have their full time they're they're trying to, and if even they can't reach a consensus, then it's just an extremely complicated thing that um we have no chance of like fully understanding, and there's a lot of fear there with people if they can't understand fully, uh, then there's like an emotional kind of freak out. Like we need to, if we're really do something bad to our home, then we need to know, which that's understandable. It's just that if you say, well, it's a little too complicated for us to know right now, so we can't act yet because
You can't know
we
for
gotta,
sure. Yeah,
yeah,
because you
we
can't
need
know for
more
sure
information.
before you start dumping trillions into it.
So people are, when they're freaking out about climate science, they're acting out of fear and worship of the state, that the state can even solve all their problems.
Well, when you think about the scale, that if global warming were true, I think about the catastrophe that it would cause, and it's like it's no like they don't really act like it's a big deal anyway. You just hear about it once in a while.
Well, that the rich guy he was talking about how
That's a bit
they
surreal
still,
itself in a way. It's
yeah, he's talking about they still sell houses right now in low tide areas.
all the
In
time. No, I mean, well, also think about beachfront housing. The first places to go is gonna be the beach.
Yeah, like if you're really concerned about global warming, all new houses should be built on giant pillars. you know, well, like a place that's below sea level, um, fine right now, but they're not, and
No,
no
they're
one's
not.
calling them
No.
out for it.
Like, I mean, shouldn't people be scared in the streets? I mean, if it were really true, if it were as true as they try and say, why? I mean, why is it just like everybody just shrugs about it?
Yeah,
That kind of makes it kind of surreal itself, and makes you just think, well, I guess they really don't know, right? Because
exactly.
there's no big reaction to it. In fact, her Green New Deal is the first big reaction to it.
Well, there's been UN stuff tried. I mean, her thing is kind of a simplified version of what the
Well,
UN has been trying to do, right?
well, it's also stuffed full of everything, all of her other dreams.
Yeah, it's got identity politics in there, which has nothing to do with climate.
Well, it has universal health care in there.
Has what?
It has universal health care in there.
Yeah, it's
It has everything. It's not about global warming, but it is. But she also didn't address cows farting.
yeah.
Wasn't addressed.
And somebody saw her eating a hammer too,
Well,
so
all
hypocrite.
all of us. It's hypocrite. All of us love the burgers. But are you sure it wasn't a soy burger?
Sure, it wasn't what?
A soy burger. Soybean.
No, it might have
Tofu.
been.
Tofu burger.
You're
Might have
just
been a tofu
assuming.
burger. Well, I'm assuming, but if I asked her, she'd probably say that.
Yeah.
Ask her.
Probably.
You're on Twitter.
It was a soy burger, wasn't it?
Just give her the opening. She'll take it, I bet.
Yeah.
Well, so I think we can about wrap it up here. We went way off track.
Yeah, it's just
It's a hard, it's like I said, I was saying earlier, we were talking about it privately. I was saying it's going to be a hard thing for me to discuss.
yeah.
It's more of a pet peeve than anything, I guess. It's an
It's hard
important
to do.
issue.
It's hard to get in debates with people. It's hard to get to the truth. You're not going to be a totally rational robot. It's just not how humans are. We're mostly emotional creatures. And
Yeah.
so, but if you're making an effort to get to the truth, then you need to know how people try and get away from it. And the hypocrisy fallacy, the ad hominem attacks, those are the biggest ones. And it's going to suck too, because like when people call me out for something hypocritical, it really does hurt. Like,
Oh, it hurts. It hurts, and everybody has the reaction of like, well, he doesn't care. Why
yeah,
should
it's like,
I?
yeah, I know, but it doesn't mean I'm wrong. I'm trying to get away from it. I'm trying to stop. Doesn't mean I'm wrong. Yes, I've done it in the past. I've made mistakes, but that doesn't disprove me, please. Like, and so if you can
Well, especially if it's
not
something,
attack them, even if they attack you, then
especially if it's something that you do battle against.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Inner turmoil every day.
Yep.
So I guess we'll wrap it up here.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us. If you sat through all that, but if you did, why did you? Was it entertaining? But if it was entertaining,
I hope so.
but if it was entertaining, print out our YouTube page and hang it up on your local telephone poles.
I like it.
You also like, comment. So speaking of likes, Race, you like, you comment, and you subscribe.
Take a picture for evidence.
Take a picture for everything. You can film yourself
Pixar
watching
didn't
it.
happen.
You can film yourself watching it and then upload that to YouTube.
Buy a billboard and say subscribe to Ask the Right Questions instead of PewDiePie.
No, PewDiePie comes first. Because we have to defeat T-Series still.
Okay, do both then. Put them side by side.
You subscribe to
have to-
PewDiePie and us.
Yes.
Boy, that's really going to age this video.
That's okay.
You can pinpoint its time frame.
Yeah, that's
Not
true.
in the 90s. Not in the 90s.
Well, we were talking about the Green Deal. See,
Oh,
that
that's
ain't
true. Yeah, that ages it too. The future,
trying to make timeless content, but we're stuck in our own time.
the future aliens won't know what we're talking about. They'll have to
No.
look it up.
Like the Green Deal. PewDiePie.
If they can't even spell PewDiePie.
Pewds then.
Pewds, Pewds.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll see you next time on Ask the Right Questions.
See
Bye
ya.
bye.